This article is by Newsweek. It is titled Woman Refusing to Take in Evicted Stepbrother and Family Applauded Online. It was published October 5th, 2022. The author of the article is Jack Beresford. We're also going to be referring to one paragraph that was written in Reddit under the AITA forum. So we'll be looking at that as well. And that is from the woman they're actually talking about in this article. A woman refusing to take in her stepbrother and his family after they were evicted has been backed for taking a tough stance after detailing the bullying she suffered at his hands growing up. In a post shared to Reddit, the homeowner wrote about the trauma she experienced as a child after her mom got remarried when she was just 10. Soon she was living alongside a new stepfather, Nick, as well as a stepbrother, Ben, and it was far from a happy experience for her. Now, it's important that you remember who these characters are. There aren't that many, but there's going to be her mother, there's her stepfather. His name is Nick. He's going to come up later in her original Reddit post, and her stepbrother is Ben. So, right now, just remember Nick and Ben. This is a stock media photo. That is not the photo of them. According to the Pew Research Center, 16% of children in America are living as part of a blended family. Now, as we know, one of the most dangerous, potentially, blended families can be a single mom with little kids marrying a guy who might not be all on the up and up. And that is something that I've read about in the news media. I won't address it for the purposes of this channel because it's not relevant. But when we talk about blended families, people have to be really, really careful that you know who you are blending with. This mix can lead to a happy and harmonious household. That is the healthy blended family. But in the case of this Redditor, it did not. Quote, there were pictures of my mother, Nick, and Ben all over the house, but none of me. They found any excuse to have family time without me, the original poster wrote. My mother told me once that it was hard for her to love me and look at me because I looked so much like my father. Could you imagine telling your child you look so much like the ex-spouse that I divorced, that I don't love you or I don't like you very much and I don't want pictures up of you? How incredibly selfish. I could not imagine a parent telling me that. I'm sorry to any child who has had to suffer through that. And then sometimes you get the family that actually over promotes their child. True story. In my early 20s, went to this one house, and I am not kidding. They had one child, and man, did they love this child because this child was everywhere on the walls, big pictures, little pictures, black and white, baby colored pictures. It was funny to a certain extent. It's like, okay, but you could tell they love them. So I guess these are kind of extremes. One, I want you everywhere on the wall. And the other was, no, I don't want you at all. So let's imagine her mind frame. She's already feeling maybe slightly rejected because her mom did remarry and she doesn't have her mom's full undivided attention. She really doesn't go into how her relationship was with her mother before, but I'm going to assume it was okay. Well, the Redditor says her mom and stepdad often commented that she would turn out to be a failure or embarrassment. Oh, I guess her mother did not have a good relationship with her. I take that back. Let me start that over. Well, the Redditor says her mom and stepdad often commented that she would turn out to be a failure, embarrassment like her father. Ben was extremely cruel to me and my mother, the poster wrote. Boy, we got a kind of a funny dynamic here. The Redditor and mom don't really get along. Okay, mom marries stepdad Nick. Nick has a son, Ben. I mean, this is where blended families can get very difficult. And it's why my mom chose to wait after my parents got divorced until the youngest of the four siblings was basically in high school. It took away this whole dynamic mess. In reviewing the post, psychologist Covenant told Newsweek it was likely that the Redditor experienced what is clinically known as attachment trauma. Quote, when one's mother is there to protect and offer comfort, fails to do so, it creates a very complex set of feelings. When this is then combined with another type of unprocessed childhood trauma, any trigger brings up old feelings back like it happened yesterday. We've all known people who bullied us. I remember someone, and I've never forgotten her name, and I'll leave it at that. told me one day she was going to make me eat a slug. Well, in Oregon, their slugs are everywhere. And I remember just going home so scared that I was going to be forced to eat a slug. But I got revenge not even years later, when we were in college. I think she was a college dropout and was cashing out my books as I was attending college on the University of Oregon campus. So life has a way of getting even. I was not mean to her. I said nothing. I was just like, how you doing? Have a good day. For this particular woman, that trigger came the day she was contacted by her stepbrother, who got in touch on social media with a desperate plea for help. According to the Post, while she received little support from her mom, her paternal grandparents were there for her unconditionally and helped her get through college. After graduation, she moved in with them and following their passing, inherited their 3-bedroom home. In the years that followed, she repeatedly tried to talk to Ben about his behavior, but he took no accountability, telling her that it was ages ago. Ben explained that he and his family are being evicted from their previous home. I'm not sure about the reason, but apparently it's bad enough that practically nowhere is willing to accept Ben and his family as tenants. The only place that's willing to accept them is an extremely shady, dangerous area, and he feels it isn't safe for his daughter, who is only 6 years old. Her mother and Nick aren't an option, so he hoped that he and his family would be able to stay with me. I admit it's a big house, 3 bedrooms, a large yard, and garage. Adeline could take one room and he and his wife could live in the other, and he offered me a sizable rent. I told Ben no, and I don't feel comfortable living with him again because of what he put me through as a child. Ben made the same argument about that was in the past and that we probably wouldn't need to interact with one another because of our differing schedules. I told him no, and that was final. Yay, Redditor. It's interesting because when someone says, "Oh, that's in the past," what they're really saying is, yeah, I know I really messed you up and I wasn't nice to you, but I don't want to discuss it because I don't want to be accountable for my actions, even if it is years later and I'm now a father with kids. When he says here, when Ben, the stepbrother, says we probably don't need to interact with one another because of our differing schedules, great. I want to come home every single day to what feels like a divorce relationship. No, thank you. I'm not living with somebody that I have such a tumultuous relationship with that I don't want to go home that day. So that kind of shows you incredibly how selfish Ben is. It's like, hey, open up your house to me. And, even though it's your house, you don't have to worry about ever seeing me in it. No, I know you're there. When I come home and your car is in the carport, when I can smell your dinner cooking in the kitchen, okay? I mean, it's my place. It's her place. And you don't want to bring in that spirit of negativity. Also, it says up here, he says that no place is willing to accept Ben and his family as tenants. Gee, that seems to remind me of perhaps some unpaid rent. Maybe that's going on. Perhaps the innocent 6-year-old. Hey, I'm just saying, maybe she's a little hell on wheels. We don't know. Perhaps there's fighting and biting. Perhaps it's disturbing the neighbors. You see, when nobody wants to rent to you, it's kind of like this. When you co-sign a loan, what does it mean when you co-sign a loan? It means the person can't afford it. So if no bank is willing to give them money, but you're willing to become the bank, oh, gee, they can't go to any of these banks. They can't even go to, what is it, a secondhand bank, for high risk bank. I'm stretching. Life is good. Okay. They can't even go to a high risk bank, but you will sign on for them. Hey, I understand no bank will take you, but because you have no money and you probably have late bills, bad debts, low credit score, but hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take you on. Same situation here. She was smart. Nobody would take Ben and his family. Well, and she shouldn't take them either. And the other part is this. Once you take them on, within about 3 to 4 weeks, they are legal residents. And guess what you have to do to get them off? You have to get them into court and do a formal eviction. And somebody who did not care for your feelings in the past and never made amends of apology, they don't care about your feelings today. They just want to use you. After graduation, the Reddit user moved in with her grandparents and following their passing, inherited their 3-bedroom home. In the years that followed, she repeatedly tried to talk to Ben about his behavior, but he took no accountability, telling her it was ages ago. For Covenant, for Dr. Covenant, this response effectively shut down any chance to heal the wounds created by what happened in the past. She told Newsweek that saying it's in the past is only an effective response when traumatic events and experiences have been reprocessed. Repair with family members can start to happen only if there is acknowledgement and a genuine apology for the events that took place. Absolutely. And that's not just family members, that's friendships too. But especially important with family members, because when you are in a situation like an eviction, okay, you might need some help. Now, some people could say that because these are step siblings and stuff, and that is one step removed, that perhaps maybe that's a little bit of a case that she didn't want to take them back. But if it's true that family is in the heart, family they are the people that lift you up, make you feel better, yada yada. Okay, they weren't family, and it's irrelevant that they were step siblings because they still did live together. Their parents married, and all of that. And imagine if he had actually taken the time before he had a child. Okay, and he goes, man, I really realized I was really cruel to you, and I am so sorry. And I would really like to have the opportunity to, apologize to you and to show you, the better part of me. And you build that friendship up over years. And that takes years, you guys. It's like, building up your friendships and communicating with families like an insurance policy. Don't come crying to the insurance company when you've had the car accident and you never bothered to buy the policy in the first place. Continuing on. So, when he did get in touch after 2 years of no contact, it's unsurprising that Ben's plea for help fell on deaf ears. He said he was being evicted and his family, including a 6-year-old daughter, had practically nowhere to go. Despite this, the poster refused to let them in, telling him she didn't feel comfortable living with him after what he put her through as a child. Though he again said that was in the past and told him the answer was still no. She said, no, you may still not come in. I don't care if it's in the past. I don't care if you have a child. Well, the presence of her stepbrother's daughter has left the woman feeling conflicted. Many online felt she was right to say no. I think she was right to say no too. Happy Tall Person, that's a Reddit user, wrote, not wanting to share your home with someone who makes you uncomfortable is a valid reason. Someone else commented, for things to change, the stepbrother needed to show he's worked through and acknowledged bullying. And if you really want to get technical, you could even say that his response of, well, let us move into the house and you just don't have to see us because we have different schedules. Some could say that's a form of bullying too. Why is that a form of bullying? Even though I'm probably not technically using bullying correctly, but work with me here, okay? He's basically saying, look, I don't care how uncomfortable you feel in your own home. It doesn't matter if you got through inheritance, makes no difference. It's your home. Her paternal grandparents gave it to her. This is why you have to make sure you treat people kindly. You never know when you're going to need your family members. You're never going to know. Some other Reddit user commented, he has zero respect for your feelings and would have zero respect for your boundaries. Someone else wrote, the fact he refuses to acknowledge any wrongdoing says it all. Yeah, the boundaries. His own boundaries is defined by what he needs. And honestly, couldn't some people say, gumption you have to have 2 years of no contact. And before the 2 years when we did have contact, you weren't a nice person to me. Then you go for 2 years, you don't talk to me. You have a kid, okay? And or he had a kid before then because the kid's 6, but you have a child and now you want to try to have my space, my happy space. You know that pillow that says, this is my happy place, okay? You want me to turn that upside down so you and your whole family can come in. And somebody like this with no respect of feelings, has no respect of boundaries. And you think he would be there to worky and get out real fast? No, because once you have an eviction, it can take potentially years to recover from it, which means he's probably also in debt. So she's supposed to have her water bill, her electric bill, all of that's supposed to increase so he can bring in his family of 3. I would have said no. And I know at times people go, but there's a child. You got to look at the emotional side and the legal side. And the legal side has to do with, for her to get them out once they move in, these would be the type of people, this would be the type of stepbrother Ben, he would force her to go to court to kick him out. You have to be really careful when you let people into your place and you have them stay. And one of my suggestions is never, and I read this, okay? Can't take credit for knowing this. I just do a lot of YouTube watching. But never, ever allow them to have their mail address be your address, ever. They have to have a P.O. box, whatever, because on a lot of legal stuff, it will say, what is your legal residence? And if you allow them to use your address as the legal residence, that's one more hook you've given somebody that is unwanted. That's the key. That is unwanted under your roof. So think about that. Okay. Dr. Coven, that's the psychiatrist or psychologist, okay, said it is understandable she would be reluctant to help someone who played a part in causing traumatic experiences and then downplayed their impact. Yes. How many of us today have lived through a traumatic experience, never got an apology, and you never will? You have to move on with your life. You have to just, not that you get over it, but you learn to struggle through it and move on. They need to protect themselves from further harm. If the family moved in without any attempts of genuine repair from the stepbrother side, it would be the original writer as if they were living in their past trauma every day. Yeah, having him underneath her roof is like, great. I get to see you every day. If nothing else, I smell your cooking. I hear your kid. Okay, I bump into your wife on occasion. All right. And this is like living a nightmare again. That is her happy place. Your home is your happy place. Don't let anyone destroy it. It's time for me to go to the gym. Go visit my happy place.